Skylar Roo is poised to become one of the greatest women's basketball players ever, but personal struggles derailed her from doing so. On today's episode of What If, we discuss the untold story of Skylar Roo.
Here I am at that time, like the face of women's basketball in a sense, and she was like trying to go at me. I was like, man, you're gonna be special. I remember telling her, just, stay focused, you're gonna be special.
Born on September 10, 1981 in Annapolis, Maryland, Skylar Roo faced significant hardship as she was raised by a single mother in Capitol Heights, one of the roughest areas in Maryland, but she would use basketball as a distraction as she honed her skills playing against the men in her neighborhood, which built the toughness and tenacity inside her, and she would go on and become a standout player at Archbishop Carroll High School, where she averaged 22 points and 15 rebounds per game. And after the conclusion of her senior year, she was the 17th ranked player in the country and was heavily recruited by North Carolina, Rutgers, Arizona, and Virginia, but ultimately she decided to stay home and attend University of Virginia to play for the legendary coach Debbie Ryan, and she would make an immediate impact as a freshman, averaging 14 points, 8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 1.6 steals, and 1.4 blocks per game, leading the Cavaliers to the Sweet 16 and winning ACC Rookie of the Year. But as a sophomore, Sky established herself as one of the best and most dominant players in women's college basketball, averaging 18 points, 12 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 2.4 steals, and 1.3 blocks per game, leading the nation in double-doubles and leading the Cavaliers to their 18th consecutive NCAA tournament appearance. And Sky dazzled fans with her tremendous athleticism, elite scoring ability, and amazing offensive versatility. And she was viewed as being a once-in-a-generational type player because we never saw a player that had her combination of tremendous athleticism, elite scoring ability, and amazing offensive versatility. And her stellar play garnered the attention of women's basketball star Shamika Holdsclaw, who stated that Sky was on the path to become one of the greatest women's basketball players we had ever seen. And at that point, it appeared as if nothing would stop Skylar Roo from reaching greatness. But after the conclusion of her sophomore year, she made the shocking decision to leave the University of Virginia and play professionally in Italy. But during her time in Italy, she would suffer 2 major tragedies as her brother was murdered and her grandfather passed away. And with her having to deal with these tragedies, she decided to return to the United States, where she was drafted by the LA Sparks in the 2003 WNBA draft. But unfortunately, she would never play a game for the Sparks. And during this time, y'all, Skylar Roo was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And just like that, her career had unfortunately ended, and she remained out of the public eye. But in 2011, her former AAU teammate Carol Lawson was in DC, and as she was coming out of a CVS, she saw her former teammate Skylar Roo, who is now homeless, and she was absolutely devastated because she cannot believe that a player like Skylar Roo, who had the potential to become one of the greatest players ever, was now in a predicament that she was in. And then a year later, y'all, Shamika Holdsclaw, who again stated that Sky was on the path, was on a trajectory becoming one of the greatest women's basketball players we ever seen, also saw Sky in D2, who again was homeless. And I think, y'all, this is one of the saddest stories in women's basketball history, because I truly believe that Skylar Roo could have been one of the greatest women's basketball players ever. I mean, just look at what she did her first 2 years at Virginia, y'all, averaging 16 points, 10 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 2 steals, and 1.3 blocks per game. I mean, she did that in 2 years, y'all. Just imagine what she would have done in her junior and senior years. I really believe that Virginia would have won the championship because Skylar Roo was the best player in women's college basketball, y'all. And I also believe that she would have gone on to the WNBA and become one of the greatest players in WNBA history. And can y'all imagine if Sky actually got the opportunity to play for the LA Sparks? I think she would have totally changed the trajectory of that franchise, because I think if Skylar Roo plays for the Sparks, y'all, then they don't have the opportunity to draft Candace Parker in 2008, because they wouldn't have been bad enough to get the first overall pick to select Candace Parker, because Skylar Roo would have been the face of their franchise, would have been a superstar player for them, y'all. And again, it's just such an unfortunate story because she had all the potential in the world to be a basketball legend, but the setbacks that she faced off with losing her brother and grandfather and then getting diagnosed with schizophrenia, I think that just ultimately changed her forever. And in 2016, Shelly Smith of ESPN did a great E60 story on Skylar Roo. She went to visit her, and initially it was fine, y'all, but then on the final day that Shelly went to visit her, Sky was being, kind of combative with her. She was unwilling to speak, and again, that goes back to the mental health challenges, the mental health struggles that she has. And to anyone out there that is struggling mentally, don't be afraid to seek help, y'all. It's okay to say, I'm not okay. I know sometimes, it can be uncomfortable to say that, but please do not be afraid to get the help that you need, y'all. And I hope that Skylar Roo will eventually get the help that she needs, because she has a lot of people, including myself, that love her, that care for her, including a lot of her former teammates, a lot of her former peers. They really want to just see her do well. But y'all, we're going to continue to pray for her. We're going to continue to love for her. We're going to continue to ask God to bless her and to really open her eyes and see that she has a lot of people in this world that really care for y'all. So let's just continue to pray for Skylar Roo, and let's hope that she is doing okay. But there I have it, man. This was the untold story of Virginia women's basketball star Skylar Roo, and why she was on the trajectory of becoming one of the greatest women's basketball players ever. But unfortunately, setbacks and mental health challenges prevented her from doing so. If y'all like this style video, please leave me your thoughts in the comment box below. Remember, y'all, laughter is the message. So what? Make sure you get your daily dose. Y'all know I'm an enemy. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.